Hello and welcome again. This is another tutorial primarily about psychedelic production, but in reality we're going to be covering something which you can use in any kind of music at all. It's Air Windows Console. Air Windows Console 8 just launched by Chris on his website, and let's have a look at what it does first of all. Well, that's difficult to actually A-B because of the way that you set up on here. On each channel, you need to have Console 8 channel in first in the effects chain, and then Console 8 channel out, which has a fader control on the output. So that is to say, as the last effect in the chain. Okay, on subgroups, you need to have, and I've got the hype version in here, Console 8 sub first of all, and then Console 8 sub out last of all. On the output, you need to have Console 8 bus in and Console 8 bus out on there. So there's 6 different tracks, and you need 6 different effects, and you need to place them all over the place on your channel, submixes, and master mix. And they all work together, so they all communicate to increase and decrease the amount of saturation in the sound, and it simulates analog summing. So let's play around with the volumes of some of these tracks. So while you can't see the faders moving up and down, you can see the volumes. Now, if you're not familiar with Reaper's method for assigning MIDI controllers, I suppose it's the best that can be done. But you have to find the parameter, in which case we're talking the very last parameter. The last effects on here, Console 8 channel, and I've assigned it to a controller on my MIDI interface, which it's laborious to go through this. I've in fact programmed my interface so the faders work as continuous controllers instead of faders, but I'll say that's a story for a different day. Okay, so let's have a listen to some of the sounds. I'm going to fade in some of the reverb I've recorded here. Okay, so I've got some reverse reverb on here. Now I'll be covering how to do reverse reverb, reverse dubbing in an upcoming video very soon, hopefully in the next couple of days, but I'm going on holiday next week, so it may take a couple of weeks. We have some kind of random effects here. Let's fade the drums back in. really hear the drums crunching there. So it's really just to kind of demonstrate that. I'll turn these drums down a bit. They kind of demonstrate that it's quite easy to get things to almost mix themselves using this. So you need to keep all of your track channels and the master all at 0 unity gain, and use the faders and other gain stages to control the overall volume on there. Take you through a couple of the plugins that you can download free of charge. First one on here. Well, both of these are from Anaolg Obsession. This is P-Red or Pred. In any case, it's a preamp. It's got a rumble filter on there, which I'm using on the bass. High pass filter. Gain. Get some synth kind of sounds. I'm not going to use it by extreme though. And also from Anaolg Obsession, Loaded, which is a preamp with a de-esser, gate. Let's try the gate. Again, it's not what we're looking for here. I've used a bit of EQ on here. Let's go back. I've used a bit of EQ. One thing about this is it's difficult to see where the on switches are. On the kit here, again, Anaolg Obsession, solid state bus compressor, Buster SE. So I've got that on the drum bus. Another one I've got on here is Signal Noise SN01G compressor. Let's push that so you can hear it. Get those drums pumping on there. Okay, so those are some of the VSTs you can use. Now I'm going to show you something you can do by making a couple of independent mixes and sticking them back together again. What I've done is I've made a couple of mixes. This is the first one. I'm going to show you a technique for kind of injecting a bit of mayhem and phase effects into your mixes. Okay, so what I've done here is I've kind of tracked, well, I've used touch record and my controller, and I use that on all the tracks at the same time, and basically did a live mix. Okay, I produced 2 of these mixes, and I'm going to be using a trick that Spiritualized actually used on their Pure Phase album. We'll be layering up 2 different mixes on top of each other, and then having a look at some of the effects we can do with that. Now what I've done on here is, as nearly always, I've used Chow tape model, and I've used a bit flutter, tiny bit of wow on there. I'm just going to introduce a tiny bit of motion into what we're doing. Okay, let's move over to the second mix now. Here's the second mix. I took a different balance of instruments on here, tried to get a different kind of ambience going through. We've got 2 stereo mixes that we're going to be mixing between, and then using them in different ways. So I'll show you what we're doing with that. So this is the second mix. It's a bit random and all over the place, but that's kind of the effect I was going for. Some happenstance, some happy accidents. And here we have 2 different mixes. First played separately, now together. Now we'll do some panning with them. You can see I've got the envelopes on there. Let's pan to the center. Now you'll hear a big difference if I put them in phase with each other. All of a sudden there's loads of bass. It cancels a lot out doing it like this. You could use a low pass filter to still let some bass go through. For the purposes of this video, I've not done that. So as I say, we've got 2 individual mixes there. Number 1, number 2. By putting them out of phase with each other, you can get all sorts of interesting effects when you do panning between them, as it's just coming up now. This is a kind of effect you could use in a lot of different kinds of music. Okay, so that's the end of this video, taking you through a few techniques: console summing, mixer emulation, a few nice VST effects with a good analog feel, and one process to kind of give you crazy psychedelic mixes. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for listening, watching. Take care. Goodbye.